What's going on, YouTube? So today's video is going to be a discussion about, is the R3 or the Ninja 300 a good starter bike, or would I recommend you all getting one? Now, I've had both of them. I've had the Ninja 300 and I got the R3. Now, I didn't have them both back to back, so comparison wise, it's hard for me to really say for sure, just because I had a 750 in between, so it's a completely different bike altogether. But I do remember the Ninja 300 handled a little bit more smoothly. Whenever I was like shifting gears and stuff, it did it really smooth compared to this one. Now this one doesn't shift hard, it's just a different feeling altogether. But they're both really good bikes and they're both very similar to an extent. I digress though, let's get back on subject. So would you recommend one of these as your, would I recommend this as your first bike? And yes and no. So it depends on what you're planning on getting it for. So if your intentions are to putz around town like I am right now and just kind of cruise around and get some experience in and everything, then absolutely, this bike is great for that. It gets good gas mileage. It's got enough power that I can exceed my speed limits anywhere I go, and I can do that kind of quickly. I mean, I'm not going to be going like on the interstate and getting up to 120, anything like that, but it does altogether do what I need it to do. So the next question is, well, what if I want to get it just to ride up to the mountains and hit twisties and stuff like that? If you live extremely close to the mountains, then yeah, that'd be cool. For me, I got like an hour-and-a-half drive, and I usually go up there every weekend. So in the hour-and-a-half drive, my bike is sitting at extremely high RPMs, and it's not stated that that's bad for my bike at all, but there's no way that I can believe that that's good for it. So I'm sitting there beating the crap out of this bike just to get there, and that's where a bigger bike would fall into a better category for you, in my opinion. Now this is all my opinion, none of it's a fact, none of it is, you know, set in stone. If you're going to be getting on the interstate a lot, don't get one of these, because they don't claim that. But these are my thoughts on it, and I've had both, so this is something I've realized with both of them. Even the Ninja 300, I didn't like it on the interstate at all, and I had the Ninja 250, and that was terrible, absolutely awful on the interstate. So these are just some things to keep in mind. If you plan on doing a lot of interstate riding, do not buy one of these, in my opinion. I mean, I would go and get an R6, a used R6. What I mean, the price point is great, but that's up for the next subject. So you can pick one of these up for around, I think, $4 grand used, $5 grand new, something like that, 500, somewhere. So the price is amazing, and you can get a brand new bike. You get the feeling of breaking in your own bike, picking it up from the dealership brand new. And that's one of the things that are really nice about these little 300s. Yeah, they're affordable. Your insurance is cheaper. I mean, a lot of things are cheaper. Now, if you bought a bike straight out, your insurance wouldn't be cheaper on this end if you financed it, because of full coverage, But, I mean, the price point is excellent on there. So that weighs into a huge factor whether you should get one or not. But even if it requires you to wait a little bit longer to get a bigger bike, if you're going to be doing a lot of interstates, I would just wait. I mean, I love my little 300, but my desire to get a bigger bike is freaking ridiculous right now. Had to pick up my daily monster. But alright, so back on subject. Yeah, price point's good, so I'll give that to this bike. Now, if you're buying one used, the price point's really not good, because, for instance, I got this one for $4 grand. I could go get a like 2008 ZX6R for about that same price. So and I feel like that's a better purchase now, given I've been riding for about 10 years. So we're gonna say you're a new rider and this is your first bike purchase and you're not sure what to get. Should you get the R3 or Ninja 300? Should you go with the bigger bike? A couple things come into it. So yes, learning on this thing is amazing. You can abuse it and do things that would normally cause you to wreck on bigger bikes and not have the risky side effects of it. Now, here's where I tell you, you probably shouldn't. A lot of people, when they get these bikes, they finance them. If you've never rode a bike before, like if you have no experience, I mean no experience at all. A lot of people think they want a bike. They're like, oh yeah, I'll ride all the time, I love it. And then they get it and they're like, wait a second, none of my friends got bikes with me. Now I'm by myself all the time. Hence, I've done this before. That's why I say that. And I've seen it happen to many other people. But now you're locked into financing something that you don't even use. Or you think that you're inexperienced and you get it, and you start raising hell on it a little bit, and then you get really used to it. And then now you're like, oh, I need it faster, I need it faster. Well, there's really not a whole lot you can do to make it that much faster. But now you're locked into, again, a contract on this bike, financing it. And it's going to take forever before you get above the negative equity to be able to trade this guy in on a bigger bike that you actually want now. Altogether, this is an amazing bike. And if you get one of these, knowing what you're getting yourself into, and you know that it's not an interstate bike, you know that it's going to putz around town pretty good, it's going to handle good if you go to like the mountains or the track with it. I've heard a bunch of people say that they're amazing on the track. I mean, if you get it knowing this stuff, but knowing that you can't be going on the interstates and stuff all the time with it, or, I mean, I guess you can, but I probably wouldn't recommend it, then I think this is the bike for you. I mean, if you don't mind it and you know exactly what you're getting into, I knew what I was getting into, and that's why it doesn't bother me. I got this with the intention of building credit and getting a bigger bike. That was the goal altogether. So it wasn't a huge deal for me. Now, someone that might be new to riding might not know a whole lot, and they don't realize that, you know, a lot of your friends are going to get 600s, 1000s. I mean, I've got friends that are driving 1000s and they can whip it around a corner like if the bike weighed as much as this one. And when they do that, like, you know, you can't keep up. So just keep in mind, you know, this is an amazing bike, and I'd recommend it for someone that knew what they were getting themselves into. But if you're not entirely sure, do a lot more research and take a lot of thinking before you pick one of these up, especially if you're going to finance it. If you're going to buy it with cash, the resale value is not bad on these. I'm seeing them go used for like $3,500, $4,000. So that's American cash. I know I got a lot of people from other countries that watch my videos. I'm just talking about USD. So yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. It's still an amazing bike. I love this thing. I love it every day. In fact, I plan on getting a bigger bike and still keeping this one. I don't want to let it go. I've got a lot of memories on this thing, and I've grown a lot in my riding experience with this. Something I never really did. I did a lot of putzing around town, never did mountain rides. I'm doing mountain rides now, which is a whole different experience to me, and it's fun, it's amazing, and there's a lot that can't be replaced that I've learned just from riding on this thing. So yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I've got many other videos happening. I've already found out when I go to Daytona Beach, unfortunately I'm not going to be renting a motorcycle because I'm rolling with the permit right now, but I'm going to be renting a moped. That's going to be not as interesting. But I'm be on the beach and I'm be on something that I can motovlog, so Motovlog Monday will still happen. And other than for that, I mean, I guess I'll catch y'all later.